afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to today's very special FINITI product training. I'm your host. My name's Kasaya J, and I'm the digital media specialist for Jeunesse Global. Today, we are talking all about one of our incredible anti-aging products known as FINITI. And today's training is going to be very, very specific on this particular supplement. And you may be hearing words like telomeres, telomerase, chromosomes, DNA, cell division, all of these crazy things that might have you just a little bit worried. But I encourage you, hang on, because it's going to be very educational, very informative, and help you understand the benefits of this truly incredible supplement. Joining me on today's call, you are going to hear from the very best of the best. I've got two total experts who are going to give you all the information on TA65MD, which is the main ingredient that you'll find in FINITI, and then also Dr. Donna Antar, who sits on the medical advisory board for Jeunesse Global. To introduce Donna, for those of you who may not know, she does sit on our advisory board. She's also a medical doctor. She specializes in youth enhancement medicine, rejuvenation medicine, anti-aging, sports medicine. She's also a psychiatrist who does mind and body medicine, and she has her master's in exercise physiology. She actually used to be a shareholder for a previous network marketing company, so she knows all about our industry, and she also enjoys dancing. She's very active. She participates in triathlons. She's actually done a total of, 52, Donna? Is that what you said? 52 triathlons. So she hails from New York. She had lived in Southern California for 25 years, and now her and her husband reside in Orlando. She's at headquarters right now joining us, and we're delighted to have you with us on the call today. Donna, thank you so much for joining.
Well, thank you, Kasaya. It's an honor to be here.
Absolutely. And also joining us today, we have Noel Patton. And Noel is the founder and chairman of the Telomerase Activation Sciences, which we'll refer to as TA Sciences. This is a company that's a vendor to Jeunesse Global that has given us the exclusive rights in the direct sales industry to the ingredient TA65MD, which is the key ingredient in our product FINITI, which is what we're talking about today. I've had the privilege and honor of working with Noel, and he's an extraordinary individual, extremely successful businessman, and an entrepreneur. He is now considered the foremost expert on telomere and anti-aging biology. He's made it his passion and mission to bring this Nobel Prize-winning science out of a research lab and into the marketplace so all of us can benefit. The interesting thing is both Noel and Donna maintain tremendously active and healthy lifestyles, so they definitely walk their talk. And Noel hails from Indiana. He also lived in Hong Kong for 15 years, so he's very well-versed, well-traveled, and now he resides in New York, although he's joining us this morning from California. So Noel, welcome. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk about FINITI with us today.
Well, thank you, Kasaya. I'm so glad to be here, and I'm just excited to spread the gospel, so to speak, spread the word about this fantastic product, FINITI.
Well, I think everyone's excited to know about it. Like I had mentioned, sometimes, even in our video, we see cells dividing and all of this stuff. And, for people like myself who don't have backgrounds like you guys, we're thinking, whoa, what is this? We just want to feel good and be healthy and look good. And so I think the information that you guys are going to share with our viewers today is going to be tremendously beneficial to help them understand the amazing science behind this product. So everyone knows we're talking about FINITI, but Donna, I know we had mentioned that there's a massive, massive difference between our chronological age, or how many birthdays we've had, and our biological age, what our insides are actually telling us our age. Can you explain to the viewers this morning the difference and why they should know and care?
Well, I would love to. And you said that there is a difference. Well, I think we hope there's a difference for sure.
Of course.
Because, your chronological age, like you said, is just how many birthdays you had. So, if you've had 50 birthdays, you're 50. But are you really 50? Are you 50 biologically? In other words, has your body aged like an average 50-year-old's body has aged? And all of us know a 50-year-old who looks and acts and by all intents and purposes is more like a healthy 30-year-old. Well, how does that happen? It happens because of telomeres, and this is what we're going to talk about today. And basically, the summary of all that is long telomeres are good, short telomeres are bad. And basically, when your biological age is younger than your chronological age, that means your telomeres are longer. They are more in line with that younger age. And that's how that happens.
Okay, can you tell us exactly what a telomere is?
I can. A telomere is the ends of our chromosomes. It is the protective end caps at the ends of our chromosomes. Should we look at the video real quick to see what that looks like?
Yeah, I'm thinking, because here's the thing. When we start talking about telomeres, it's one of those things where we're going, okay, well, what exactly are those?
Right.
So
what does that look like?
What does that look like?
My suggestion, Keziah, if you could pull up that one shot that shows the chromosomes with the telomeres at the end, that would be a good thing to show the audience.
Okay, I'm going to do that. We actually have some slides that we can share with our audience this morning, which is going to be very, very helpful. So when we're talking about a telomere, and Noel, why don't you touch on this, because I know you're truly an expert when it comes to telomeres. Can you explain to the viewers a little bit about what they're looking at on the screen right now?
Sure. This is an individual pair of chromosomes. One chromosome is from your mother and one is from your father. And the tips that you see that are gold color there, those are what the telomeres are. That's where they're located. They're at the ends of the chromosomes. And there's the next shot, if you could pull that one up, one that shows the whole double helix.
You see it?
Yeah, that's it. Now, here again, the way the chromosomes are wrapped around each other, these two pairs. This is just another diagram of showing the same kind of thing, where this is showing the DNA strands that are inside the chromosomes. But again, you see the telomeres, the protective tips, at each end of the chromosomes. And one more, pull up the next slide if you could, Keziah.
Sure thing. See that one?
Yeah, here. So here it is again. It's just one more thing showing two chromosomes together, and the end tips are the telomeres. So, and then I guess the best way that people describe this that we can all understand is that the telomeres are like the protective caps at the ends of shoelace. And if you could pull up that next slide. One more down.
Yikes, here we go. Okay.
Yeah. Here you can see an artist drawing of two sets of shoelaces, and on the top one you see the plastic tips at the ends are frayed, they're going bad, and we all know that when those ends of the shoelaces no longer are there, or they're all frayed so bad you can't use the shoelaces anymore.
Right.
The bottom one shows intact shoelaces. This is like long, healthy telomeres, and they work. So that's the difference. You've got to keep like Donna was saying, you need long telomeres. They're good. Short telomeres are bad.
So long are good, short are bad. And I love this because this visual actually, for people like myself, just looking at that, it makes sense to me. Okay, if our cells actually begin to unravel, that means that they're dying. And essentially, from my understanding and watching our videos and studying FINITI, that's what happens when we age, correct? As we age, our cells start to begin to unravel and die off. And what we want to do is obviously have long telomeres that have the protective caps at the end, so we're protecting, and that definitely happens at such an internal level. So we're talking about telomeres, we're talking about DNA. Noel, why don't you just tell the audience a little bit about what makes you an expert? I know you've had an amazing experience with TA65MD, and that's really what we're here to talk about. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into this, and what this all means to you?
Well, it's surprising to me that I'm here today. My background is I used to manufacture electric fans and electric heaters. So I was low-tech, uh, low-tech business, 20th century business, and now here we're at the forefront of very high-tech 21st century business. So what happened to me personally is I sold my business when I was turned 50 years old, and I started to notice the occasional ache and pain and just wasn't feeling the same way as I did before. And I got interested in anti-aging medicine for myself. I had no business idea about doing anything. And then I was at a lecture and heard a professor from the University of Texas talk about telomeres and telomerase, and she showed how the human cells could actually become immortal in a petri dish in a laboratory where they wouldn't die. And after the lecture, there were several speakers, and after the speakers were done, I pulled over the professor, Professor Shea, and said, "Hey, Doc, how can I get a hold of some of this immortalization stuff?" And he laughed and said, well, that the university had licensed all their patents to a California biotech company, and he gave me their name. I called him the next day. I flew up, met with the CEO, made an investment in the company, and I was there when they discovered this amazing molecule that we call TA65 that has the capacity to activate this enzyme that's called telomerase, which makes telomeres grow longer. So I got into this business, you might say by accident of being at the right place at the right time, and it all started by just trying to save my own ass from aging. So I will say that this all happened 12 years ago.
Okay.
And when I actually formed the company, and the first 5 years was nothing but research and development and chemistry to extract this molecule, which comes from a Chinese plant that's been used in traditional Chinese medicine for 2,000 years. But it's a single molecule, and there's thousands of molecules in the plant. So it took a lot of chemistry to get it out. So it was 5 years before we ever sold the first product, or even before a human took the TA65 compound. And I was that first human, and that was 7 years ago.
Wow. That's very, very impressive. And, like I said earlier, I think we're all trying to look better, feel better, stay immortal, right? That's the new thing. It's like, how can we live longer and be more healthy? So, Donna, I think that's a great time to segue into you. We had talked a lot about the FINITI video that the company released, which actually explains how the cells die, which is a great visual. So I think we've established on the call today that short telomeres are bad and that causes aging, and that long telomeres are good. And also that this is a natural process that occurs in the body. Can you help the viewers understand? One, I think it's great that we're actually using the FINITI clip, because this is a video, ladies and gentlemen, that all of you have access to. You can find it in your J Cloud, in J Mobile. You can actually use this to, again, market the FINITI product, and it walks you through, which is what Donna's going to do right now, walks you through the process of when a cell begins to divide and die off. So, Donna, back to you.
All right. So basically, we understand where the Nobel Prize comes in understanding what a telomere is. So Nobel Prize winning science means that because now we understand how important telomeres are, that's what the Nobel Prize was won for. So there we are. I just want to stop real quick right here. What you saw in those pictures that we just showed you, those PowerPoint pictures, that was a chromosome. That was the half maternal and half from paternal from your two parents, those two sides.
Yep.
That chromosome is really a squished up, wound up, coiled up version of this right here on your screen right now, which is DNA. And the DNA is the one that looks like what you're familiar with seeing. It looks like a ladder that's been twisted. That's what DNA is. And that DNA, when you coil it up and squish it and basically make it all wrapped around each other, it looks like a chromosome. So that's exactly what you have in every cell, except for your red blood cells, in every cell of your body. And we have trillions of cells. This is happening in every cell. Okay? So here's a animation of the ends of your chromosomes. So this is where your telomeres are, these very ends right here. So you can see there's the two sides, and then it's showing you the chromosomes. Now, when the chromosomes start, when the telomeres start to disintegrate, which you're seeing here in this picture, that's when aging starts happening. That's when cellular aging starts happening. Because again, remember, it's happening in all the different cells in the body differently. Some parts of some cells your telomeres are shortening faster than others. So it's happening throughout your whole body in all of your cells. So what happens, here's a cell, now this is a whole cell, when those telomeres start to disintegrate, like you saw, like if you can picture the ends of a shoelace kind of frame, or think of that video you just saw just now with it disintegrating off the ends of the chromosome, the cell starts to die. It basically breaks apart and dies, and that's called apoptosis, just a fancy word. It means the cell dies.
Okay.
Or another thing happens, and here's another cell, where the telomeres have gotten so short that instead of dying, though, what happens is the cell no longer works. So in other words, if the cell was a heart cell, it doesn't beat. If it was a muscle cell, it doesn't contract. If it was a kidney cell, it doesn't filter. All of our cells have different functions. So whatever function the cell had, it no longer does anymore because it's too old, basically, to carry out its normal function because the telomeres have gotten so short. However, it didn't die. What happens instead is something called senescence. But senescence, it just means, it means like doing nothing, kind of hanging around.
Yeah.
And if it just did that, that'd be one thing. But the problem is it doesn't do that. What happens is, and you can see it from this picture, it spews out or releases toxic free radicals and inflammatory molecules that basically damage nearby cells. And that's a key concept because you can see how there's a cascade of things happening here. One thing goes wrong and it affects a lot of other things. And so that cascade of that one cell can kind of damage and then prematurely shorten the telomeres of nearby cells is how things get bad and how things start to kind of unravel quickly. And then, however, we have FINITI, and FINITI is the only nutrient that has been shown, that has the key ingredient, TA65MD, that has been shown to lengthen short telomeres in humans. And that's exactly what you saw at the end of that video, the telomeres starting to grow, starting to re-lengthen. And that's how the key ingredient in TA65, in FINITI works, which is TA65MD.
That's amazing. And I have to tell you, from a third-party viewer, like, I understand our products and I get that, but the way that you just described that with the visual helps me understand that even though we can't always feel it or we can't see it happening, that internally all this stuff is going on and taking place and we really need to be aware of it. So basically what I just saw you show on the screen, and Noel, what you said earlier about immortalization, if I take FINITI, am I going to live forever? That's my next question. Will this actually make me live longer?
Well, I sure hope so, but unfortunately, it's not really the fountain of youth for entire people. But lengthening telomeres and having telomerase active can make cells in a dish, human cells in a dish, actually immortal. So we have hopes that this science will eventually be able to really drastically improve people's lifespan. But right now, our goal, and my personal goal, is to extend everyone's health span by at least 10 years. That means the way you can continue to enjoy your healthy, active life 10 years more than you would have otherwise. That's my goal, and we think that's achievable, and we're hoping that FINITI and TA65 will be one of the major contributors to that lengthening of our health span.
That's wonderful.
You're basically adding healthy life to your cells.
So it's vitality is really what we're looking for, because even if we live a long time, we don't want to do that without being well and being able to maintain an active lifestyle. So I love that. So thank you for explaining that. Noel, do you want to just touch very quickly? I know we talk a lot about TA65 MD. We've talked about telomerase and telomeres and all these things. Can you talk a little bit about the difference in the ingredient that we actually have and maybe what makes the TA65MD a little bit better? Can you just touch on that?
Well, what TA65 does, it's a single molecule, and of course it's in the pill, the FINITI pill, and when you swallow it, it gets into your bloodstream and travels throughout your whole body. And then it goes into cells. And when it goes into the cells, it has the ability to activate this enzyme that we call telomerase. Telomerase is named after telomeres because it's the one thing that can add DNA back to the ends of the chromosomes that normally gets lost as we get older. So it's activating telomerase is what TA65 is all about. And it's only with telomerase that you can add back the ends of the chromosomes, the telomeres. So FINITI, the main ingredient in FINITI TA65 is a telomerase activator, and that's the key. Now, you have stem cells in your body. And stem cells make all kinds of new cells, and they have much more telomerase and longer telomeres than normal cells because they have to keep making new cells over and over again. But eventually, even stem cells, when they get old, their telomeres get too short and they stop to function. So everybody would die before age 120 if we had cured every disease known to mankind because your telomeres would get too short and the cells simply wouldn't function anymore.
Wow, that's amazing. I had no idea that that was the case. Thank you for also bringing in the stem cells because that's very educational and informative to our viewers this morning. You had touched on earlier that this ingredient comes from plants. Dr. Donna, do you want to tell us where TA65, the ingredient, actually comes from?
Oh, sure. It's from a Chinese herb called astragalus, and that isn't asparagus. It's astragalus.
It sounds like asparagus.
Sounds like asparagus, doesn't it? But it's really astragalus.
Exactly. Okay.
It's a Chinese herb that's been used for centuries for all sorts of things, and it's a very complex plant. So it's got tons and tons of different types of molecules in it. And what Noel's company has done is isolate the molecule that has this particular function. And that's what makes TA65 natural, but also incredibly unique.
Got it. Okay, because the natural is something that's very important to yourself, to our company. We want to make sure that people know, obviously, that there's a high integrity to this ingredient and that it is a naturally occurring substance. Noel, can you explain the difference in TA65 MD versus the enzyme? I know what she just said about asparagus. Was that right? Or
asparagus?
Okay. Oh, no, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Because you said what it is, but I remembered asparagus. So astragalus is what it actually is. And if we were to find that, say, in a homeopathic store or bottled somehow, Noel, what's the difference between TA65 MD and this enzyme, which you might be able to go and pick up somewhere?
Well, let me phrase that a little differently. An enzyme is something that's made inside of a cell, okay. And what TA65 does is it turns on a gene, or in some other ways, activates this enzyme, which is normally turned off. And that enzyme is what adds back the DNA molecules at the ends of the telomeres. Now, in the plant that this comes from, this astragalus, asparagus, and actually, in a funny sense, it wouldn't matter if the molecule came from asparagus. It doesn't, and it can't, but it theoretically, wherever it comes from, once you take it out of the plant, it's only a single molecule. It's no longer astragalus, it's no longer asparagus, it's a single molecule. And that's what TA65 is. It's purified to 98% pure, and the other 2% is things like water. There's no other molecules from the plant left there. Now, you can buy an astragalus extract in a health food store, and they're not expensive at all. And they have several thousand different molecules in them. And if they have any of the TA65 molecule, and most of them don't have any because we've tested them, but if they had any, it would be an infinitesimally small amount, and you'd have to just take tons of that material or drink a tea that's made from it. So the difference between an astragalus extract at a health food store and TA65 is a fundamental difference.
Got it.
We're dealing with a purified single molecule.
Okay, so after what we've covered on the call today, we know that long telomeres are good and that short telomeres are bad. We know that this key ingredient, TA65MD, goes in and activates the telomerase, activates the cell, and that's what helps it elongate, essentially. So we also have clinical studies that have shown, this is proven, it absolutely works. And I'm sure that our viewers, their main question is, what are we going to feel when we take it? You know, if we're talking about all the science, we're talking about stuff at the cellular level. A lot of people are like, okay, I want to just drink my 5-hour energy so I have the jolt that I need to go clean my house or take care of my kids. You know, what is it that people are actually going to feel when they start taking FINITI on a consistent basis?
It is a lot of times about what people can feel. Mm-hmm. However, remember that you're looking. We're talking about anti-aging. We're talking about the reason you feel better is because you're, in essence, you've in a sense reversed some cellular aging, and you're made of cells. So you know, just go with that. But we're not looking for, because you did mention it, we're not looking for a 5-hour energy caffeine jolt,
right?
Because that is basically it's a legal drug called caffeine that is in a lot of different things and is actually age promoting. So we don't want that. That actually burns the body out. You don't want to burn your body out. You want to restore the body so that you have this natural energy that it just exudes from you. And that's what happens when everything works correctly. And part of what makes things work correctly in the body is lengthening of telomeres of the cells of the body, especially the short ones. Remember, the statement that we make is that an ingredient FINITI, TA65MD, can lengthen short telomeres in humans. You're only as healthy as your kind of weak link.
Yeah.
And your weak link is going to be where your telomeres have gotten the shortest. So that's where the body knows to go help first. And that's what they've shown has happened. So people are going to feel overall things. I've had people tell me, and I've experienced myself, you feel a higher sense of energy, like a stamina, mental clarity. People can focus easier. They even sleep better, even though they have more energy and focus more in the daytime. So you get all of those things that people associate with being younger is partly what you notice when you've been taking FINITI.
Excellent.
Well, it took us a long time to get to the age that we are, whatever that age may be. And there's no product, including TA65, that can reverse that overnight. And so it's a gradual process. We recommend that people take FINITI for at least a year, but we can see measurable improvements with TA65 after only 3 months. Now, some people experience things very soon, like more stamina and better sleep and so on. But if you want something that you can measure, like telomere length or strengthening immune system, it's 3 to 6 months, 9 months, a year. It takes a while.
Sure.
And also, two of the things that were measurable that we know happen is the short telomeres getting longer and the immune system getting younger. You can't actually feel either one of those things, except that your overall well-being is getting better, but it's not like you can feel something specific.
Of course. You know, for me and what I believe, I'm just now turning 30, so I'm also starting to be very conscious of the aging process, although when you're young, you think you're going to live forever. I think a lot of that also has to do with just reverence for oneself and your body and taking good care of yourself and living a healthy, active lifestyle and eating the proper foods and maintaining the right diet. And so as great as Finity is, it also comes down to lifestyle choices, I think, a lot of times. And that's also a very important component too, because everyone will feel something different. Everyone will experience something different because there are so many variable factors in how people live their life, essentially. Is that correct, Noel?
Absolutely. It's key that people live a healthy lifestyle. There's just no question that if you're overweight and you're overstressed and you smoke and you drink too much and all those things, you know you're going to die earlier than you would have if you'd lived a healthy lifestyle. But still, people that live the healthiest lifestyle, like maybe a Buddhist monk or something, that eats well and has no stress and so on, they still get old and they die.
Yeah.
So you've got, it's a combination. You've got to take care of yourself in the way your doctor tells you to, and the way we all know that we should. Not all of us do it. Most of us don't do everything we should do, right?
Correct.
But you need something to lengthen these telomeres, because every time any cell divides, telomeres in that cell get shorter. I'll say that again. Every time any cell divides, the telomeres get shorter. And when the telomeres get too short, then that cell will either die, apoptosis, like Donna said, or become senescent, which is even worse because it's still around and it's spewing out toxins into the neighborhood. And it's also taking up space that healthy cells would like to take up.
I found that really interesting whenever Dr. Donna explained that in the video. I had never known that before. We don't think of ourselves as dying and becoming toxic or not doing anything inside. We just kind of go about our lives. But that was really, really powerful and super informative. Donna, is there anything else that our viewers really need to know about TA65MD, about our telomeres lengthening and shortening? Any final words that you would like to share with our viewers today?
Well, sure. I think it's important for people to remember that there are thousands of studies that relate in the literature right now that relate short telomeres to some of the ailments that are associated with the natural process of aging. So it's not a theory that short telomeres are associated with aging. It's very, very well documented that short telomeres are related to the ailments associated with the, quote, natural process of aging. So given that that's true, you want to look at how is the best way, what is some of the best things to keep yourself, to delay that whole process. And in the case of Finity with TA65MD, we have the ability to reverse that telomere shortening with this new technology. And even though it's the all natural technology, it's what nature wants to do, but doesn't always have the tools to do it. And that's a lot what our product line is based on, giving nature back what she needs to make this correct.
Right.
And to make the body go back in balance so that it can do what it wants to do naturally, so that we can feel fantastic. Because youth enhancement isn't about just looking younger.
Yes.
We have products to do that, but it's about feeling younger. It's about having that vitality and doing the things that you maybe used to do when you were younger, but maybe kind of have stopped doing now. Why not start doing them again? And a lot of times when people feel even just a little bit better in some ways, it helps them, it enhances their ability to make other lifestyle changes.
Totally.
And that's why we talk about that, lifestyle changes in your diet and in your ability to move your body. I say that instead of exercise because it sounds a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Move your body and doing something that's fun for you, and what you eat and how you manage your stress level has a huge impact on your telomere length. And they've shown that in scientific studies also. So it all comes together, but it's all based on this Nobel Prize winning science. And, we're so fortunate at Jeunesse that we have access to this incredible product from Mr. Noel Patton, this incredible ingredient that is the key ingredient in Finity.
Amazing. That's such an articulate way of explaining it. Thank you for sharing that. It seems like with FINITI, you're saying our body already does this naturally. This is just like a little added boost that we can give ourselves to kind of get the cutting edge, right? Get a little ahead of the curve. Not only is it preventative, and I think the point of everything that we're talking about today is that we all want to feel good. We all want to live the life that we desire, and part of doing that is making sure that we're taking care of our bodies from the inside out. FINITI is an excellent, excellent way to start doing that. Noel, any final words that you think our viewers need to know about TA65ND or the FINITI product before we close today's call?
Yeah, I'd like to close with actually repeating, if you will, what's already been said by showing some different slides.
Excellent.
And if you could pull up, there's a video where it shows telomeres getting shorter. If you could just show that.
Myself, so you guys can see
so
it.
Here we go. Here is the telomeres, and you can see them getting shorter as we get older, like the shoelace tips fraying, and then all of a sudden you have nothing left there. So we've seen that. That's the process that we're trying to stop or reverse. So if you could go to the next one that shows some cells aging and dying. So this is going to show cells what happens to them when their telomeres get too short. Now the video that we're looking at right now is showing healthy cells, and they start out as healthy, but as their telomeres get shorter and shorter with age, the cells start to deteriorate and die off. And this is what you're seeing in this slide or this video, which is really natural aging, what's happening inside our body. These healthy, good-looking cells are turning ugly. And then the next thing I'd like to show is another video. So it's actually a drawing of cells dividing. That drawing. Now this is what we lose with age. This is what's happening. By now you're familiar with, on the left-hand side, the pair of chromosomes there with the telomeres at each end. So what's happening is you start with a single cell, which you see at the left of the diagram there. That cell divides, which is what healthy cells do. They divide, and notice that the telomere at the end is getting a little bit shorter. Then those cells divide again. The telomere gets even shorter, divide again and shorter, and finally, after they've divided, actually, it takes about 30 or 50 cell divisions before this happens. There's no telomere left, or not enough telomere left, that the cell can function anymore. It can't divide again. And this is called senescence. This is aging, and at that point, those cells are done. That whole line is done. So, and then the next slide that we have here is number 10 on this. And this is a video also, and this is just showing just the reverse of what we saw earlier, where the telomeres now are getting longer again because the enzyme telomerase is present and it's causing them to grow back long. Only telomerase can do this. And then there's another little video here that shows cells rejuvenating, and that'll be the last video that I want to show you. But this shows us what happens when you get old, sick cells, and that the tissue starts to rejuvenate itself and becomes healthy again. So I think this is just a quick refresher course of what we had been saying earlier. And all I can say, one last thing about myself, is I don't have a scientific background. I don't have a medical background. I got into this because I'm an aging human being and I wanted to do something about it. I just didn't want to retire, sit in my rocking chair and watch the world pass me by while I withered away. So this is what this was all about to me. And now I'm back in business. We actually have a successful business here But that's not the reason I'm doing this. I want to save the world, quote, and as I said earlier, save my own ass and that of my friends and loved ones. And I don't view this as a once in a lifetime opportunity, which it is. I view it as a once in a thousand year opportunity. We can make, telomere biology can make human cells young again. I mean, for thousands of years, people have been talking about the fountain of youth, and that's all been BS. Nothing has ever been able to actually do anything to stop the aging process. So I'm so excited about being here at the forefront of this technology. We're still at the beginning. There's a lot more to know, and there'll be other products and other science that will add to this thing. But I'm one of the first ones. This is one of the first things out there now where we actually can do something about cellular aging. And Finity and Jeunesse is just a great company that they have seen the light in this ahead of other competitive companies, and you guys are way ahead of the curve in your industry, and I'm proud to be associated with you.
Well, no.
Feeling is mutual.
Oh, absolutely. It's mutual. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to help us all understand this science better. It really feels like a secret that we have our hands on. Your passion shines through. It's clear that you truly are an expert, and it's clear that you walk your talk because of your passion with this particular ingredient. Dr. Donna, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join our call today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, you are welcome to leave them in the comments area on the sidebar, which is on the right-hand side of the screen. Also, be sure to check your JCloud for the Finity product video, which you saw a sneak peek from Dr. Donna. She walked you through, but you're able to watch that entire thing through. Also, pull down the Finity product sheet and educate yourself on this incredible, incredible product. Now you know the science behind it. If you haven't tried it, I highly encourage you, order it, start taking it, and sharing it with everyone you know, love, and care about. Thank you so much for joining our Finity Hangout. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.